¿What? Buenas, susaditos adictas. Nuevo debate. Acabo de ver la votación, ¿vale? Más gente cree que va a ganar Venom. Yo no me acordaba de algo que hace Crona, ¿vale? Hace ataques sónicos. Da igual, no hay, en serio. En algún cómic Venom tiene el poder de Superman. Eso es DC, que te calles. Hay un cómic donde Marvel y DC se juntan, así que chúpame un pie, ¿vale? Gilipollas. Para que veas que los cómics son una puta mierda, pero el Venom básico no gana Crona de ninguna forma. Pero bueno. Vamos a ver cómo hacen que Venom en un cómic sea ultra mamao y gana Crona. Veamos.
AT&T 5G.
A ver si apesta. Lo que apeste, guapa, me da igual. No pido más.
It's always nice to have a best friend attached to your hip, like me and my shotgun leg.
But these two take their friends even further than that.
No son
Venom,
amigos.
the lethal symbiote and Spider-Man's best frenemy.
Crona
And Crona,
no es
the
amigo
deadly
de...
demon sword from Soul
Todo lo
Eater.
contrario.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. At the beginning of time, in the faraway reaches of space, the Clintar rose from a living darkness. One of these amorphous symbiotes was Venom.
Who was a freaking loser? Hey, don't look at me, all the goop aliens were saying it. So they kicked the poor slime ball straight off the planet.
In its exile, the symbiote underwent a number of misadventures which firmly shaped its personality. It bonded to a heroic Kree soldier rescuing refugees, a violent monster who committed genocide, and apparently Deadpool.
Damn, no wonder Venom's so messed up in the head.
Eventually, the symbiote was discovered by Peter Parker, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
It gave him a pretty slick black suit and awesome new powers. But after finding out it was a confused, raging psychopathic alien, Pete decided to exercise it with the power of Christian Rock.
A wise decision, although ill-timed, as this event would cause the symbiote to finally meet its greatest partner, Edward Brock.
Eddie was a journalist with the unluckiest backstory ever. While trying to uncover the identity of a serial killer, he blamed the wrong guy. The same day he published his article, Spidey caught the real killer, who lived right next door to the dude Eddie blamed.
Long story short, Eddie was fired from his job, divorced by his wife, and disowned by his father.
Who already blamed Eddie for his wife dying in childbirth.
On top of all of that, Eddie
What?
learned he developed adrenal cancer, with only a few months left to live.
Man, and I
Holy-
thought 2020 was rough. I almost don't blame him for becoming a supervillain.
With all hope lost, he begged God to take it all away, and got an answer. The symbiote.
Just like Captain Planet, with their powers combined, these two losers became a super loser. Well, no, they actually became a horrifying monster with all of Spider-Man's powers and then some.
Their mutual hatred of Spider-Man caused the symbiote to bond to Eddie like no host ever before. They were perfect, a terror in the night, an unstoppable demon. They were Venom.
It even cured Eddie's cancer.
Sort of, it's complicated.
Apart from Spider-Man's webbing and web-crawling powers, Venom can use shape-shifting to mold his body into cool doodads. Swords, shields, tendrils, worm monster things, even wings. Yeah, imagine seeing this guy flying outside your window at night. Well, good luck sleeping ever again.
Venom can camouflage his entire body, heal severe wounds like impalement and lost limbs, see all around him at once, and psychically project emotions onto others.
Normally,
What?
this just makes people feel sorry for themselves, like Wiz on Tinder. But one time he convinced a bunch of other symbiotes that life was meaningless and they killed themselves. Shit, that's dark.
If desperate, the symbiote can even invade
Claro.
the bodies of others and make them burst from inside out.
Gross and awesome.
Eso no va a
But if
poder
he
con
doesn't
Crona.
want to pop them like a fun balloon,
Like a
he can just
psicológico,
take
sí,
over their
pero
body
eso
like
no.
a creepy puppet master.
No pudo
While attached to
kissing.
a victim, Venom can control them by fusing the symbiote to their nervous system, specifically the brainstem and frontal lobes. Fighting off this mind control is extremely difficult unless you have powers that can directly counter it, such as another symbiote.
Oh god, aliens, tentacles, and mind control? Are we sure this episode is rated E for everyone, or do we need to start blurring stuff?
Don't worry, aside from being a horrible mass murderer, Venom's stories are completely wholesome.
Right.
Venom proved a dangerous thorn in Spider-Man's side and frequently ruined his life. even taking a page out of my favorite book, The Most Dangerous Game, and hunting him on a private island.
Yeah, he was the coolest rival ever, but over the years, things kinda calmed down a bit. They even teamed up every so often.
See, even with so much anger, Eddie had a legitimate desire to protect others. As a teenager stealing his dad's car, he accidentally ran over and killed a child. Despite his desire to confess, his father forced him to plead innocent and rigged the jury. The guilt has weighed him down ever since. So while Venom does have a hunger for human brains, he'd rather eat the face off a criminal than an innocent person.
Venom's as tough as they come. He's survived Ghost Rider's penance stare. He's strong enough to toss a tank hundreds of feet up, and fast enough to take down Spidey 2099, who once caught Mjolnir while it was moving 2,000 times the...
Mirad el dopaje que le están pegando. Ya han puesto a 3 tipos de Venom diferentes. El Venom del tanque es uno, el de 2099 es otro Spider-Man, aquí tenemos otro de un top. Es que...
speed of sound.
Although Venom does not possess the spider sense that allows Parker to react in microseconds, he can still keep up with all the usual Spidey gallery.
Aquí hay 50
Plus,
cómics
while
diferentes.
symbiotes have a severe weakness to high-pitched sound and heat,
Cada
he's
uno un poder
developed
diferente, cada uno
resistances to
diferente,
them.
cada uno
Like
todo.
when he took this giant explosion, or when he survived a sonic scream from some mutant gremlins that shattered all glass within 10 miles.
While he may be tougher to take down than most other symbiotes, Venom never fully overcame his weaknesses. However, his symbiotic genes provide far more help than harm. This includes traits and memories from other hosts, like Scorpion and Flash Thompson.
Wait. Bullets are a genetic trait? How do I pass that down?
Venom would certainly need a lot of firepower to survive an encounter with the symbiote god.
Oh, geez, here we go.
At first, the Clintar symbiotes were seen as a peaceful people. But turns out they were actually living weapons forged by the primordial deity Null in an attempt to conquer the universe.
And I bet next up, Marvel decides they're magic maple syrup people from Asgardian IHOP. But okay, cosmic sludge made by alien Satan. Let's go with that.
Despite it all, Eddie and the
Me
symbiote
encanta como ellos mismos se acaban de burlar de la pedazo de gilipollez que son los putos cómics en su puta cronología e historia. Se acaban de burlar.
have proven they're far more than the dark legacy the Clintar were intended for. They've even gained the respect of the Avengers and eventually considered Spider-Man a friend. Sort of. It's complicated.
Eddie really is the best pal Venom could have found. And let's be real, he just looks freaking badass.
Eso sí.
Chaos everywhere, even in your nightmares.
In ancient times, a demonic being known as the Kishin ravaged humanity, nearly driving all mankind into the depths of madness. This monster could only be defeated and sealed away by the god of death.
So, why is the literal god of death so goofy looking? Have you ever seen Death Note? Hell, even Thanos' girlfriend is scarier than this clown.
If you are unfamiliar with the world of Soul Eater, prepare yourself. It's different.
Well, not wanting a return of the apocalypse, Death and his oven mitts founded a school, Death Academy.
Here, warriors called Meisters would train to fight evil using the power of their souls.
They even got neat demon weapons that doubled as people. Together, they learned courage, chivalry, unbreakable friendship. You know, all that anime crap.
Crona Gorgon was not one of these students.
Buckle up, it's all Gloomsville from here. Deal with it.
I don't think I know how to deal with this situation.
Throughout their childhood, Crona was abused by their mother, Medusa, a witch obsessed with the legendary Kishin.
You can see where this is going. Anime Uma Thurman was such a fangirl she figured, hey, why don't I make my own Kishin? So she used her child as a guinea pig in a bunch of crazy experiments. You know, it kind of sounds like something you do, Wiz.
Don't be silly, I only use actual guinea pigs. Part of Medusa's great experiment included bonding Crona to a weapon, much like the Meisters of Death Academy. However, joining with Ragnarok was a bit more literal.
Ragnarok used to be your run-of-the-mill transforming weapon person until Medusa melted him alive in black blood.
Black blood being another experiment of hers. Crona's own blood is, in fact, this same black blood, which they can remotely control. It can be used to heal wounds and even harden as a sort of internal armor.
Cooking rags in black blood turned him into a brand new weapon that was literally poured into Crona's bloodstream.
From that point on, Crona and Ragnarok were two halves of the same person. the meek and tortured child firmly attached to their loud and brazen weapon.
And Raggy has that black blood control too. They can yank poor Crona around like a puppet. They can use black blood to create wings, thorny vines, all kinds of weapons, and big-ass needles. Ugh, I hate needles. What's up with that mouth when he transforms into a sword? That thing's messed up.
Like the Meisters, Crona can wield their own soul in combat. Amplified by Ragnarok has a technique called Scream Resonance. Think of it like hooking an electric guitar up to an amp, though more akin to a
cierto, que el sonido hacía que la espada vibrase. Me había olvidado de eso. La espada de Crona vibra. Si sabéis quién es Flash, sabéis lo peligroso que es que una cosa vibre.
Reaching Banshee on LSD.
I didn't know you play.
I don't. It's incredibly powerful, causing internal damage to foes and making Ragnarok vibrate to increase his cutting power. Hey, are you okay?
What?
With this weapon at their side, Crona set out on a quest to become a Kishin, which required quite a lot of homicide.
Yeah, Ragnarok can absorb the souls of dead people, and supposedly enough souls will turn Crona into the Kishin. So they went around slaughtering hundreds of people.
Despite their name, Death Academy wasn't exactly a fan, particularly their star student, Maka Alburn.
Don't worry, she and Crona ended up becoming good friends. Until they weren't. Sort of. It's complicated.
As a pawn in Medusa's mission, Crona gained several levels of new potential. Notably, after gaining or absorbing the powers of the monstrous Black Clown, the demon tool Brew, and even Ashura, the original Kishin.
All of which
Y también a su madre.
increased Crona's abilities, especially the black blood. Now Crona could turn their entire body into goop, and the slightest touch could inflict madness. That's madness with a capital M, by the way.
This madness is a corruptive effect that causes targeted variants of delusion or obsession, often spread as a wavelength. The wavelength of Crona's mad blood specifically causes violent psychosis.
Crona may be a pawn, but they're a badass. They can cut through a whole ghost ship, cover the moon with sound waves, open the moon's mouth? What the hell is wrong with that moon?
Crona and Ragnarok have held their own against multiple Death Academy students, including Maka, Death the Kid, and Black Star.
Sometimes all at once.
Kid once flew from Nevada to Egypt in less than a minute, and Black Star is even faster. He's dodged lasers and been tracked moving over 20 kilometers in 6 microseconds while approaching Baba Yaga Castle.
And Crona's been able to make enough mad blood to crush a whole goddamn Ukrainian city.
While this city isn't named, we can use a similar metropolitan area in Ukraine, Kiev, for instance. With this in mind, Crona must have created over 9 trillion tons of black blood, enough to fill over 6 billion
¡Cubrió la luna!
in Olympic swimming pools.
But Crona's a big leap from invincible. They've had their shit kicked in plenty of times, and their hardened black blood can only block so much.
Even then, Medusa's plan ultimately succeeded. After years of scheming, Crona absorbed the power of Ashura and became a Kishin.
Well, more like Kishin absorbed Crona, but close enough.
But with the power of friendship, Crona ironically wound up defeating the Kishin once and for all. Despite their life being nothing but destruction, Crona was the one who ultimately saved the world.
With an added side effect of a new madness wavelength that made everyone obsessed with boobs. Truly a positive effect on people everywhere.
Just give up. I'm tired of trying to figure out how to deal with you.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, instead of chewing on brains and souls, how about chewing on blue?
This episode is sponsored by Blue
A death battle!
A la patruca, debe poder pagar con la puta.
I want to be alone.
Hey, pay attention, you turd. Aha! Lucky day! 2 brains for the price of 1!
I don't think I can handle this right now.
Your mind is towers. Dinner time.
Vamos a hacer que el sonido se... Me estoy equivocando, pero ¿no me pone que Venom es muy débil al sonido? Gatoringan.
He's gone? What is he?
We are the ones hiding under your bed. Teeth ground sharp and eyes glowing red.
No me pilles esa referencia. Pero vale. Aunque la MV más famoso es de This is Halloween de Shelos1life, podéis buscarlo, todo guapo.
Your blood.
I know. It's black.
Wake up, stupid!
Eddie.
We are the darkness. We are your nightmare. We are
Venom.
Venom.
I hate you.
¡Anda, coherencia! ¡Wow! Y las almas humanas, ¿cierto? Buena. ¡No me lo creo!
Man,
¡Hostia! ¡Coherencia! ¡Wow! Creo que es la primera vez que un personaje de anime gana a un personaje de... Bueno, personaje de anime manga gana a uno de cómic. ¿Está contando una batalla como Halloween? Pues creo que hay otra batalla, ¿no? Las peleas no se hacen una vez al mes. No, técnicamente está de Pokémon. Me gusta mucho la temática.
and these symbiotes really need to stop picking fights with pink-haired anime characters. They're f***ing crazy.
Venom was certainly a tricky opponent. His shape-shifting camouflage and multitude of weapons kept Crona on guard. Unfortunately, Venom lacked the power needed to keep up a prolonged fight.
Yeah, Crona matching Black Star's
Lucy,
speed makes
cierto.
for a pretty clear
Cierto, Lucy
difference.
ganó también.
Crona could reach Mach 9000, while Venom only topped out around Mach 2000.
And while Venom has shown incredible physical strength that puts Spider-Man to shame, he could never compete with 9 trillion tons of mad blood.
Which, by the way, that precise control of the black blood totally meant Crona could push out any of Venom's attempt at being a puppeteer.
And Crona's shown even greater feats of strength as well. Assuming all of the Moon's teeth are similar in size and stone, opening this jaw is equivalent to lifting over 10,000 tons.
Of course, the final nail in Eddie's coffin was the fact that half of Crona's arsenal was sound-based, basically Venom's kryptonite.
Somewhat.
Gracias.
Recall that Venom did gain a notable resistance to sound attacks,
Oh.
so we needed to determine if Crona's sonic waves were great enough to effectively harm him.
You know those
Joder.
gremlins who shattered every window in 10 miles with a screech attack? The symbiote barely survived it, so that's a good high end to look at.
It takes at least 100 decibels to shatter glass normally. To cover that much distance, the combined sonic blast must have equaled about 244 decibels. In contrast, in order to engulf the moon, Crona's sonic waves must have reached over 275 decibels.
And yes, that's considering the weird size and shape of the moon. Ugh, just look at that freaky thing.
Sure, 275 doesn't seem that much more than 244, but decibels increase on a logarithmic rate. This means Crona's sound attack was actually over 1,000 times stronger.
Vinny for sure wasn't surviving that.
Eddie and the symbiote held their own with versatility, but Crona and Ragnarok had them beat in destructive power, blistering speed, and an arsenal that could take advantage of Venom's key weakness.
Ya está, así es el sonido.
Venom just got
No hay más.
Ragnaroked.
The winner is
Oh,
Crona.
qué malo.
Thanks for watching this episode of Death Battle. Come back next week to see previews of our upcoming matchups. If you want to watch more stuff, you can click the boxes right around here, and you can always pick up some TV
mira,
merch
Lucy, ¿lo
at
ves?
store.roosterteeth.com.
Attention, blue team! This is the red team! We're here to
Red versus
destroy
blue?
you!
I got a tank! People with tanks are never outnumbered!
Ninguno. Esto es una parodia. Es una parodia. Esto es una parodia, esto es una parodia, esto es una parodia. Tres pares de cojones. Pero ok. ¿Se da charge? Ojalá se haga charge, tío. Ojalá se haga charge. Ojalá se haga charge. Guau, Red vs Blue, tío. Guau. No puede ganar ninguno de los dos. Bueno, tú dices que alguno gana Blue de paliza, o sea. Los Reds son todos idiotas. El vago, el chupapollas y el subnormal. Y luego están los temas de relleno. Y luego tenemos a Charles, que es manco el pobre. Caboose, que es el puto amo, pero es tonto de cojones. ¿Usted quién más falta? Ah, el Bao Chiqui Pau Pau. Vale, el Bao Chiqui Pau Pau. Es verdad. Y me faltaba que uno más. Bueno, Sisters no cuenta, ¿no? Bueno, luego está mis niñas. Tienen que salir. Bueno, a ver qué coño hacen aquí en ya. Bueno, dale aquí en los comentarios. Me ha gustado mucho la batalla. Sí, bueno, a ver. Sinceramente, la batalla, lo que es animación, sí que la he visto un poco muy. No sé. La acción hecha. Bueno, son para los personajes. Para estos personajes son más habilidades que acción, ¿no? Así que la pelea ha sido un poco más. Simple, por así decirlo. Pero lo que es la visualidad del combate, ¿no? Todo Halloween, todo tenebroso y tal, me ha gustado mucho. Me ha gustado mucho, la verdad. Sinceramente. Quitando la acción y la animación, ¿no? Pero bueno, da like.